Sek was a small fox with rust-colored fur and eyes like the dying embers of a long-forgotten fire. He lived alone at the edge of an ancient forest, where the trees stood taller than towers and the wind always whispered stories of those who had come before. No one really knew how old Sek was. Some said he'd always been there, like the forest itself. Once, long ago, Sek had not been alone. He had a family. A mate named Lira, silver-furred and bright-eyed, and 2 kits who danced like leaves in the autumn breeze. They lived in a den carved into the base of a knotted old tree. It was warm in the winter and cool in the summer, and the air always smelled of pine and safety. Sek was not a clever fox, nor the fastest, but he loved deeply. Every evening, he would return from the hunt with something for Lira and the little ones, a plump rabbit, a bird too slow to escape, or even just berries when game was scarce. The kits would pounce on his tail and nibble his ears while Lira laughed, brushing her nose against his. But that was before the sickness came. It began with the deer. Whole herds collapsed in the fields with glassy eyes and foam-flecked mouths. Then the birds stopped singing. The forest grew quiet, too quiet. Lira began coughing in the night. At first, Sek told himself it was just a cold. Just the change in seasons. But one morning, she could not get up. And neither could one of the kits. Sek had never known helplessness like that. He pressed his body against Lira's, hoping his warmth could chase away whatever darkness was taking her. But her body only grew colder. The kit followed her a day later, too weak to even open his eyes. Only Sek and 1 kit, little Bryn, remained. Bryn tried to be strong, but he was too young. His bones were fragile, his fur thin from fever. Sek fed him with what little he could find, hunting longer and farther each day, ignoring his own hunger, growing gaunt and hollow-eyed. Then came the night the snow fell early. Sek returned to the den with a vole clutched in his jaws, but Bryn was curled tightly in the farthest corner, unmoving. He was cold to the touch. Sek didn't cry. Not that night. He lay beside Bryn until morning, unmoving, as snow drifted in through the den's entrance. He told himself he would rest, just for a moment. Just until the sun rose. When the morning came, Sek stood up and buried the last of his family beneath a weeping birch tree, the same place he had buried Lira. He marked the earth with a stone shaped like a heart. Then he wandered. Seasons passed. The forest changed. Trees fell. Rivers dried. The forest grew quieter than ever before. No other foxes came. No deer. No birds. Just silence. Sek's fur turned thin, streaked with white. His eyes dulled. But still he wandered. He became a ghost to the forest. Animals who glimpsed him whispered legends of a fox with sorrow in his steps, who walked the woods not to hunt, but to remember. One winter evening, as twilight bled into frost, Sek found himself at the edge of the weeping birch again. The stone heart was still there, now covered in moss. He brushed it gently with his nose. And then he lay down beside it. The cold was not painful anymore. It was familiar. Above him, a single leaf clung to the birch's bare branches. It twisted in the wind, stubborn and golden. Sek watched it sway, watched the way the wind tried to steal it, but it clung on. "I'm like you," Sek whispered. "Still here." That night, the wind howled through the trees. Snow drifted silently, blanketing the earth. And the leaf finally let go. In the morning, a robin, the first bird in a long, long time, perched on a branch of the birch and sang a single, clear note. Below, where the snow lay thick and undisturbed, a small fox slept, still and peaceful, beside a mossy stone shaped like a heart, and the forest, for the first time in many seasons, began to heal.